Welcome to Psych Strength Conditioning. This week I'm going to be talking about blood flow occlusion training and the effect it has on the body. I recently purchased these bands online, and through workouts I Snapchat my workouts, and a lot of my friends and followers asked, what does it do, how does it work, is it even safe? It might seem like a weird question to ask, is it safe? But when you see how it's implemented, you may ask the very same thing. To explain how these work, I think I need to start by explaining, how blood pressure works, what normally happens in the body when we exercise. Because you're going to apply these bands to our arms and legs to actually occlude blood flow. So in order to fully understand how these work, I first need to explain how blood flow works. Now when you get your blood pressure taken, you get a result of two numbers. It's a systolic and a diastolic blood pressure. Normally that's 120/80 unless you're hypertensive, prehypertensive, and a special population. So what those numbers mean, 120/80, the systolic blood pressure is the blood as the blood leaves the heart, as it goes through the arteries and around the body. So that's a little bit higher pressure than when it returns. It's just going all the way around the body and returns slightly lower pressure. That lower pressure is the diastolic pressure. So we get these two numbers. High pressure is as the blood leaves the heart and the heart's contracting, and low pressure as it refills in the heart. What happens when we're training? Now the body has an automatic process where it dilates blood vessels to active muscles. And so, for example, if I'm training my biceps, my body is going to dilate the arteries towards the biceps to allow blood flow in to supply nutrients, energy, and hormones in that active contraction. It's simultaneously going to contract or constrict blood flow to less priorities. My legs are not active right now. My stomach, my intestines. They're going to constrict blood flow to those areas and supply it to the high demand areas. It's important because we get a swelling effect. The blood is supplied to the active muscle. We get a swelling effect. It's called transient hypertrophy. Many of us refer to it as the pump. We even say when we go to the gym, going to go get a pump. We get this swelling because blood flow is being pushed to the active muscles. And there's a reason for that, and it's needed to actually have gains. Hypertrophy, growth of the muscle, requires stress for quite a long amount of time. And so that increased blood volume adds stress to the cells. We have that added pressure, and that releases some hormones, growth hormone. It increases the elasticity of our blood vessels, and it supplies the muscle with the nutrients to actually contract. Now, this is where the bands come in. Normally these are used in a rehab setting, and that's what they were first invented for, but we've seen applications in strength and muscle size gains. What you're going to do is actually occlude blood flow to that active muscle. So we apply these to the upper extremities, that can be your arm or your leg, and you want them to allow blood flow into the muscle cell. So as the body dilates this blood vessel, it's going to rush blood to the active muscle. You allow it in, but you want to stop it from coming back out. So what you do is apply these bands to the upper extremity. This example on my left bicep, I'm going to apply it where the deltoid inserts on the humerus. Apply it at a fairly reasonably tight case. On a scale of 1 to 10, you want it around a 7 on tightness. So you're allowing blood flow in, but the lower pressure, diastolic blood pressure, is too low and it can't get back out. This causes the pooling. So then we go through an exercise regimen and we get this pooling effect in the muscle. Well, that does several things. Like I said before, you're supplying nutrients to the cell for it to contract. You're releasing hormones. You're adding stress as the blood volume and the pressure increases to create more trauma and more damage for repair. That's how we get stronger. We create damage and then we repair from it. One of the other effects that happens is the metabolites that normally occur if I was using my bicep, or right bicep, the metabolites that are produced can then exit the muscle cell and be metabolized through our liver. For lactic acid is the example of that. If you've probably experienced that lactic threshold before, you may have worked out high intensity and end up puking. Well, that's when the body can't process that amount of lactic acid at once, and it finds another way to get it out of the body, and that's the puking. And as you get better at it, you get a better tolerance to lactic acid, and your liver becomes more efficient at buffering and getting rid of that lactic acid. Now what we're doing with the example of my left arm is not allowing that metabolite to leave the active muscle cell. And so it creates a very acidic, very high pressure environment, and the muscle ends up shutting down. Now this is a safety mechanism. If we're demanding energy and lactic acid is being produced, it's because it's being asked to produce energy at a higher rate than we can actually produce it, or at least sustain it for that amount of time. And so it can't leave, and you create an acidic environment which shuts down the muscle cell. Several adaptations that occur. We get the increase of elasticity, like I mentioned, that happens normally, but even further now, we've got increased pooling. We get growth hormone secretion. We get lactic acid tolerance. We're actually increasing our threshold, our tolerance for lactic acid, as we don't allow it to leave. And we create this high pressure scenario in our muscles that leads to adaptation. So the protocol is very different to a normal hypertrophy. Normally you're under 70% of 1 rep max for 4 sets, 8 to 12 reps. When we do blood flow occlusion, we're going to be doing 2 to 3 sets at 25 to 50 reps, 30-second break between each set, and we can do 1 to 2 exercises. So if I can normally do a bicep curl at 50 pounds, I'm now doing it at just 10 pounds. 25 reps, you may think, wow, I can do 10 pounds for way more than 25 reps. Well, you might be able to, but the likelihood is that your muscle will fatigue due to the lactic acid and it will just shut down. It's very light, but your body just is unable. You're unable to contract the muscle, and it becomes very hard to move your arm. So why would we do this? Well, when in a rehab setting, what it was originally purposed for, we may have some injury to our lower extremities. So for example, I may have some tendonitis, tennis elbow, very commonly seen when we're training our arms. And that means that we have to take time off of the gym, let it heal. And that's diminishing our progress in the gym. So what can we do? We can do less work and get the same result. Less intensity, use our blood flow restriction, and continue making the same gains we had done previously. We apply the band, we do our 2 to 3 sets, 25 to 50 reps, 20% of 1 rep max. And we don't put the stress on the tendon, we don't put the stress on any of the joints. We just put the stress due to the metabolites in the muscle cell themselves. And so it's a very different feeling. It's more of a burn than I don't have any strength left. And it is then a mental struggle to keep repping out. I'm about to demonstrate some, and hopefully you can compare the right and the left arm and see the difference in swelling, see the difference in vasculature, and see the difference in just ability to contract that muscle, the speed of contraction. It's going to be a lot slower on my left arm. So I can normally curl 50 pounds on this seated incline. For my hypertrophy gains, I'll be doing 4 sets to 8 to 12 reps. Remember, I'm going to now do 20% of my rep max, that's just 10 pounds. I'm going to first occlude my muscle to get to around a 7 out of 10 on tightness. And so that's going to impede that blood flow out of the arm. 2 to 3 sets, I'm going to go 3 sets to this demonstration, and it's 1 to 2 exercises. I'm just going to do 1. But hopefully you can see the difference in swelling and blood flow, and then just the actual fatigue in my muscle. It'll be pretty hard right from the get-go, so enjoy. Okay, set 1 done. Wasn't too bad. 30-second break before set 2 starts, and then set 3. Alright, set 2 is complete. You can tell it's getting a lot harder, definitely getting more vascular, and the swelling is definitely occurring. So again, 30-second break before I start. Okay, it was extremely hard to finish that, extremely painful. The fatigue was real, the lactic acid was really in that muscle, burning up. So this is the point where you can release that. And if you're going to do that second exercise, a 1-minute break between, go straight back in, 2 to 3 more sets, 30-second break between the 2 sets. I hope you enjoyed that. That was a little painful, but a great training technique. If you found this video helpful, please like and share it. Follow my channel, and as always, if you have something you want explained, or want to understand why something works, message me, message me, and it's my goal to get that information to you. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.